Welcome to episode 2 of Bad Reputation. I'm still pondering the name of the podcast. I guess I might as well just stick with it now, but it always comes back to reputation management we end up talking about. Today's episode 2, is with my best friend in the whole wide world. I don't even consider him a best friend. He's my brother, Nick Collins.
Hello. Have you received a cease and desist yet from Taylor Swift
I have not.
in regards to the name?
Bad reputation. This was like kind of, really should have done Nick first, but getting Nick to even open up just a little bit is difficult to do. But yesterday or 2 days ago, I got to listen to something that was really inspirational from him. And it was like a 26-minute run of what's happened to him through the years. And I've been with him through all of that, and, on and off and on and off and on and off. And of course, the last 5 years we've been together, more than probably any friends have been together, literally every single day.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I talk about our friendship, I remember there was one argument.
Yeah.
And other than that,
That's
like
right.
we have never had an argument other than that.
Yeah.
And it was because of me and my stupidity of, I think I kissed your girlfriend.
I think I was away.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were away. Like he still harbors. You can tell, like deep down, he still harbors like trust issues
I
with
was
me on
away.
that. But yeah, he was away.
It's funny though, because like I hear like girls especially, they'll say, oh, she's my BFF. We've been best friends for 10 years now. And I'm like, wow, man, we really been, I remember, you were the first person that I met in elementary school when we moved from the city. My dad moved us, we lived in a row home in the city. So my dad moved us up we could walk to Memorial Stadium. So that's where we were. I remember my alley was starting to get really, really rough and a lot of riffraff. So I don't know how my dad being an orphan, no upbringing, how he managed to find this little town called Manchester. It's an amazing story how he managed to do that with really no direction. I always say, I never grew up with a guru or a mentor. And, my dad was a manager at Staples. And I always talk about how I'd see him get home late and he would say hi and then he'd head out to the tractor, or he'd start doing his work, mowing the grass. But I don't know how he took us from the city to this little town called Manchester and got us a nice house built from scratch, a little rancher on, 5 acres. It's amazing how he did it. I know how he did it, but it's just, it baffles me, how he had the foresight and insight to do that, to get us out of there. But anyways, yeah, you were the first person that I met at Manchester Elementary. And then we had the same last name. So that always caused a big stir. And I always remember one of my first memories of you is in the bathroom and you had a little truck sweater on and you were talking about the F word and you said that it was the mother of all, of all bad words. And I remember leaving there and I was like, God, that guy's so cool. He said that in front of us all in your little truck shirt. And we were little.
I love that. Like the first memory of me that
F-word.
you have
Yeah.
is me saying the word fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
That's
right.
And what's funny is like it's probably the last word that you probably heard me say, which I literally just did.
It is. Yeah, that's part of your daily vocabulary.
It is. It's part of my daily vocabulary. It's funny because my parents did the same thing, right? My parents came from Baltimore City. That's where, originally, right before I was born, they were in Baltimore City. And they moved to, like the outskirts of Manchester, which kind of like bordered on Pennsylvania. But
yeah.
It was interesting to me that like our family is kind of like migrated there. And then there were other connections through like the Icabonis, right? Like there were just all these weird universal connections that kind of like brought us together. And then of course, your dad and my dad became friends. And I always looked at your dad. I always called him the lone wolf.
Yes.
I would, and we talk about your dad all the time, God rest his soul. I got a tattoo on my arm,
that's right.
in memorial of him. He was just one of those guys. Like he was so, in my opinion, was so cool. And he was a hard worker and it was somebody that I could look up to. And I know you did too.
Oh, absolutely.
And even towards like the end with him, the guy was just free.
Yeah.
It was just, he
found freedom.
He found freedom, man.
Yeah.
He was living his life. He was doing what he felt like he wanted to do. And that's all he cared about. And that was something like, man, you want to talk about an entrepreneur. That's the entrepreneurial spirit. And, sometimes I think you ask yourself, where do you get it from? I think that's where you got it from. I think
he found it later in life.
Yeah. He was a risk taker in my opinion. And he was one of those people that did what he wanted to do. And that's really, in my opinion, what a real entrepreneur is. That's somebody that does what they want to do when they want to do it. And that's something that you do. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted some people to share, as we get into the 5 minute span here. I wanted to, after this whole like best friend banter
Best
thing,
friend banter.
you know what I mean? Like
Gotta
we've
start
already
with
had
that.
it. Yeah.
Can't go right into business.
No, we can't.
Maybe,
So, but
yeah.
I wanted to get into like some of the things that you do, because a lot of people, don't get to you don't share a lot of, I share a mass amount of what I do on a daily basis, but you don't. And
I don't
that's
like it,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta get into their groove.
yeah, I mean, people need to be able to work their way close to you, and part of my job is to
extract that,
keep people away from you.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You're the gatekeeper.
I'm literally the gatekeeper.
But in this episode, you're gonna try to extract.
I'm going to be extracting information because I feel like a lot of the things that you've done in your life and the things that you share with me have helped me get better in life. So I wanted to start off with what you do in the morning, because what you do in the morning and what most people do in the morning are completely different. So can you just run me through like a normal morning for you, like the quirkiness of your mornings?
Absolutely. So you got a taste of the quirkiness 3-4 weeks ago. We went to Florida together for a Tony Robbins conference, and I took Todd on gave him a little taste of it. But yeah, so I mean, the short and sweet is for 2 decades and now almost 20 years, I've been self-employed. So I, of course, had to find my rhythm, get into the routines. I've worked for myself at the house. I've worked in offices. I've had retail shops. So, these are routines that have just been ingrained with me over many, many years. So yeah, so my morning routine now, and this is something that even back in my most earliest of ages of remembering is I've always gone to bed early, and I've always awoken very early. I know my mom, same thing with my mother, and same thing with my grandmother. They just went to bed very early and woke up very early. And by early, I mean, I literally go to bed like 8:39, and I wake up 5:30 every morning. I sleep like a baby. Literally, my eyes start shutting around 8:30. The only true things that I really enjoy watching on TV is like boxing. I don't watch really anything else. I mean, I'll channel surf, but I don't watch much. So if I need to stay awake to watch a boxing fight at like 11 or midnight, it's like pulling teeth. I literally will have to jump rope or drink espresso shots. I mean, it is so hard for me to stay awake. But again, that's how different people work. Some people like you're the night owl. You burn your oil at night, and then you still kind of wake up early.
I mean, I was literally up until 3 a.m.
and you were back here at 8.
Well, no, I wasn't. This is the first day, and I'm sorry to break into here, but this was the first day that Nick. I don't think Nick has ever beaten me to the office, but he beat me to the office today. And oddly enough, it was because I could not get Renner to not wear his Superman costume to school. It was like this. I was pulling teeth for about an hour, and finally, I as a parent, I gave in.
Yeah,
because I had to get here. So he is currently at daycare wearing a Superman costume.
I'm sure we'll see a picture of it later.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah, I'll post the stories later. But yeah,
that's awesome.
So go ahead. So like you go to bed early, but you wake up early too, right?
I do. Yeah, I wake up super early just naturally. So my brain wakes up about 5 or 5:30. I get up and I kind of just zone out in bed. I look at the ceiling and I kind of wake up. And then after about 30 minutes of that, I do something called priming. I gave you a little, you and Nicole actually, a little taste of that here in the office. And then we did it for a bit in.
So write that down, guys. Priming. That's something that Nick, that's a keyword that Nick kind of just dropped on you. Like I said, you're not going to get a lot of access to him. So priming, make sure you write that down. So go into what's priming.
Yeah, sure. So priming is a experience or something that Tony Robbins teaches, and it's about an hour long. And I over the years, an hour is just too much, so I boil it down now to about 30 minutes. So you can simply Google Tony Robbins priming or YouTube it, and it's just an experience that he does, a lesson where he takes you through soft mellow music. He talks you through gratitude. What do you feel gratitude for? What are you grateful for? What are 3 things in your life that if you could close your eyes and think about them that really meant a lot to you. Now think of 3 things that you want to accomplish. So it's just a really deep, it's almost like a hypnotic trance type thing. You're just zoned out. You're thinking, while you're grateful, you're thinking great thoughts. Your mind is expanding and you're just kind of preparing for the day. So anyways, it's called priming. And there's about 6 different ones. I like the Tony Robbins UPW New York priming. It's about an hour long. That's the one we did together.
And you can find that on YouTube, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what is it called again?
It's Tony Robbins priming. The one that I like is from the UPW, which is Unleash the Power Within, the New York. It's got like a purple background. We can put a link in too as well.
Yeah, I think we can. So
I like that one. It's an hour long. That's the one we did over there. And again,
we did it live too.
We did it live. Yeah, absolutely. We did it live too at the experience. Some people like it, some people don't. I know Todd's girlfriend Nicole. She had mixed reactions to it. Todd loved it, and I love it. So I try to start my day with it every morning. And again, I don't do the full hour. So after that, I zone out a little bit more. I kind of go down and start making my coffee. And then the next thing that I do is I read for 30 minutes. Anything on the Kindle, I just read. My family doesn't wake up till about 8, so I have waking up at 5. You have a lot of time to chill. So I start reading. I fire up the Kindle. it's always something self-help, inspirational. Very rarely would it be, actually, I shouldn't say very rarely, never is it ever fiction. It's always, Dan Kennedy, Dan Sullivan, Tony Robbins stuff.
Keep going. Who else?
Yeah, Brian Tracy, Dean Jackson, golly, Frank Kern.
Frank Kern's your favorite,
I love Frank Kern. He's my favorite. Yeah, he's the chill Zen, the surfer. Dan, he always jokes, Dan Kennedy, attorney at law, NASA researcher, retired legal professional. So yeah, he's got a bunch of superlatives, but no, I love Frank Kern. He's one of my favorites. But yeah, always reading self-help. Another little gem that I like is My Note-Taking Nerd. So it's a husband and wife or a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they basically travel around and they go to all these, seminars that we do, and they take notes, really easy to read notes. So I go to My Note-Taking Nerd, see where they're at, and then read the bullet points and kind of get a boil down from that. So I'm just reading in the morning. Then I always hop in the shower. When I'm in the shower, I take long showers, 5, 10, 15, 20-minute showers. When I'm in the shower, I get like a brain stream. I start just thinking of all these thoughts. And I actually have a little notepad that sits on the toilet, and I start doing that. But I have a routine in the shower. I have this Noxzema that my dad used to use. So I fire up the Noxzema, put it on my face. It's, Mandy says, you're a girl. You awesome. Get in, you put your Noxzema. It smells like my dad. So I put the Noxzema on my face. I let it get steamy. I have this stuff called Dr. Teal's. I put it in the water. It smells like lavender.
Do you sit down in the shower?
I do.
It's so funny.
I do. I have a teak bench.
I do too.
Yes.
So I sit in the shower too. And honestly, and this is no joke, my best thinking is in the shower when I'm sitting down. Yeah. I'm literally sitting in the shower, like I'm sitting in a bathtub, but I'm letting the water hit me. And then I also, when I'm going to the bathroom in the morning, you and I joke about this. A lot of people call it the think tank. I call it the stink tank, quote unquote. And I'm trademarking that by the way. When I get my best thoughts done on the stink tank.
Yeah, no, I love that. And you send me pictures of that very often.
I do. I don't share that publicly, but yes, with my best friend, I do send him pictures of my pants down from the stink tank. But yeah, no. So you're priming in the morning.
Yes.
You're self-educating
always.
Which is huge, because that's what you and I have done. Our education. We were terrible in school, both of us. And even in my videos, I admittedly say that we sucked in school.
I was mediocre. That's what.
Yeah, you were probably a lot better than I was. I just didn't care, and I accepted at an early age that school was not going to work for me, and that it wasn't going to help me be successful. So, not saying that it won't help other people in specific professions, but it just wasn't for me, and I accepted that fact very early on. And I think you were just bored.
I did. I hated it.
Because you're massively intelligent. I mean, in my opinion, you operate on a completely different level. There's not a lot of people that do that, but I think you operate on a different mental level than most people. I don't think that I operate on the same level as you. I think that you have something special, and I think that's why you're able to get up early. You stick to your routines of priming, self-educating, and reading for that 30 minutes, guys. If you're not reading a book, you've got a serious issue. You've got to pick a book up. I don't care what it is, and start reading a book. If you suck at reading books, listen to audio. That's what I do. I'm not good at reading books, but I will listen to an audio book in my car, at home before I go to sleep, even when I'm in the office sometimes. And you can get through an audiobook pretty quick, right? So you're priming, you're reading, you're self-educating, then what?
Yeah, so then so real quick.
I'm sorry, your shower routine.
Yeah, my shower routine. No, I was just saying, I have a teak, little stool that I sit in there, and I absolutely love that thing. I put the Dr. Teal's in there, the Noxzema, and I just brainstream. But what you were saying real quick too with the Audible, I never used to like really reading all that much either, but the Kindle's really taking it up a notch. I watch a ton of YouTube stuff too in the morning if I'm not feeling like reading the Kindle, and then Audible. And one of the funny habits that I've gotten into is listening to everything 1.65x. So like I've come to the point now where if I'm watching something on TV, my brain wants that fast 1.65x speed.
Yes.
So on YouTube, you can go down to the little gear at the bottom. You can, and like I said, 1.65x is right on the cusp of, for me, my brain will digest it. So now it's like I said, if I'm watching TV, man, I want to speed it up. I got to intake that as quickly as possible. So yeah, so I do some type of brain, like again, I'm chill, I'm relaxed, but I'm intaking. Then I hit the shower, and then my family starts waking up about 8. I think I've gotten, what else did I do? Yeah. So okay. So then I review my to-dos from the night before. Before I go to bed, I kind of prioritize and put my MITs on there, which I consider my most important tasks.
MIT is most important tasks.
Yeah, Brian Tracy taught me that from he's got a great book called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. It's just about, setting priorities. He has a new one out now that's basically Eat That Frog ×2. I think it's called, I forget what it is. Anyways, look at the new Brian Tracy book. Eat That Frog Part 2. It's amazing. So anyway, so I get out, I make my coffee, I walk to we have a little koi pond out there. I'll drink my coffee out there and just hear the birds. We live in the woods, so it's like a rainforest sometimes. And again, it's very relaxing. I just, if my son wakes up and is running around the house, the dog's chasing him, if my wife is screaming, that would get me off to such a bad morning. And that's just, I can't operate like that. Other people can, but I can't. So anyways, yeah, so I just kind of roam around. Then the family wakes up, and then it's strictly family time for that little, maybe an hour window. I have about 7:30 to 8:30 before he has to get to the bus stop. So I'm just reviewing his homework. We're eating breakfast together, watching the news together, and just chit-chatting. Then I take him to the bus stop. I either walk to the bus stop or I drive to the bus stop. And I really enjoy that time. As you see, that's one of the few things that I'll Snapchat or I'll Instagram is just our walk. We talk, we catch up. He's, into girls now. He's into building Roblox games. So we really mend.
That's Ethan, by the way.
Yeah.
I call him E-Man. He's 6, right? This kid's 6, by the way. He looks exactly like Nick, number one. Mandy probably will hate that I said that, but he looks just like Nick. If you go back and look at like old pictures of Nick, sometimes I post them up. But anyway, it's very interesting. This kid is unbelievably intelligent. He's already on these computers and doing like amazing things. I mean, he's literally, these kids are teaching us a lot of stuff now, which is crazy. But what I found really funny about this, and I'm cutting you off from your corporate morning routine, is that your time with Ethan is so important to you.
Absolutely.
I feel like, I talk about the why, right? Like find your why, find your 100%. Why, find your why. I know for a fact that legacy that you want to leave back behind for Ethan, that's your why. Just like that connection that you had with your dad, that connection that you have with Ethan is so important to you. And the relationship that you two have together, to me, is awesome. It reminds me a lot of the relationship that I have with the boys, Logan and Renner. Where, they're not only our sons, but they're our best friends.
Buddies, absolutely.
I mean, they
said that like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
you said Logan's my best friend.
What we did, and Nick and I did, is we actually carved out, Logan was going through a tough time. Nick and I, and again, this is what a best friend does for another best friend. I had to carve out a day during the week, just give Logan some attention, but he loves, he calls him Uncle Nick, but he loves, he loves Nick more than anything. Always wants to talk to him. Nick, same thing. Always, how's Logan? What can I do? Anything else? So he's carved out this time with me, and we spend this time with Logan. Ethan comes along sometimes, and we're giving him attention. We call it the Guys Day. I think it's Guys Day or Guys Night or whatever it is, and we all spend time together, and we do the same things that our dads did with us. Because at the end of the day, and this is what I've really come to understand, is at the end of the day, dude, our kids don't care about our business. They don't care about how much money we have. They don't care about what cars we drive. Well, sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But what they really care about is the time we spend with them. Nick and I run this company. We do all these things. We also coach their teams. We go to their practices. We go to their events. We take them out. We do fun stuff with them. We act like big kids with them.
That's absolutely right.
And guys, if you're not doing that, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have regrets when you're 60, 70 years old, when you're looking back. That's what your kids remember. They don't care about any of the other stuff but the time you spend with them.
You will 1,000%. If you don't, so we only have one child, right? And that's the way it is, just one and done for us. So
that was part of your plan.
It was part of the plan, absolutely. So we have one child, one little boy, and so every minute with him, I'm never going to have it again with no more kids. So we get this one shot. So, but I'm an avid reader. You see my library. Yep. I mean, I must have 5,000 books, physical books. So, anyways. One of my favorite genres of books to read is CEO self-help books, but just biographies, right? So I have a probably 15-book collection of things that CEOs give you tips on, right? And it's tips from a CEO, things I wish I would have known when I was younger. Entrepreneurs give their tips, and 80% of those books are, do not forget to spend time with your family, or I wish I would have spent more time with my mom, or I wish, every one of these books that's the takeaway, spend more time. Yeah. And these guys are regretting it.
And the thing is funny is that, and I said this, I think in one of my videos, whenever you pass away or whenever you're on your deathbed, hopefully you actually get a deathbed where you actually get to say goodbye to your family. Sometimes, most of the time it doesn't happen.
Didn't happen for me.
Yeah. And you just, exactly. With your dad, you didn't get to say goodbye. And if you do, at the end of the day, they're the only things that they're going to talk about or remember, or the memories that they're going to have, is how much they loved you, how much time you spent with them, and the things that you did. So you can't take the money with you. You can't take the job with you. You can't take any of that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, you want people to say this: he was a great dad. He was a great man. That's what I care about. And so that's got to be your legacy. That's got to be your end goal for everything is, were you a great parent? Man, if you were, then you did your job. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I had the luxury of, so, I mean, I'm almost 40 and Ethan is now 7. I keep forgetting he's 7. So I had the luxury of and I'm a kind of an anomaly with this, but I mean, right out of high school, I started my first, we'll talk about this.
Yeah,
next.
well, let's talk about that now.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so wait a minute, so I had the luxury of starting young. So I had maybe 4 or 5 year jump where I could do my business without having a son. But anyways, yeah, so that's my morning. I guess we'll transition into that. So, one of the other thing I like, so when I drive to work, I take client calls. So this morning I actually talked to Nick Steelper from school.
Yeah.
So Nick called. He runs a family business with his mom, Cleanway.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really enjoy that, and that's what I've come to realize. I really love working with fellow entrepreneurs, especially friends from high school. So he called me up and he wants to expand his business. So we had a great talk this morning. That's one of the things that I love winding into my day is helping another friend.
Yep.
But it's also talking about business. So him and his mom run. He says, man, we really want to expand our corporate cleaning. We're having trouble with talent. They come and they go really quickly. So I talked to him. I said, listen, there's only what I believe to be 3 things to increase business. It's, increase your clients, increase the amount of things that they can buy from you, and then increase the frequency when they can buy. So I said, listen, is there any type of subscription you could get them into? Could you, when you guys clean, could you get them into some type of monthly maintenance package? Could you leave behind and sell them products and services? How can we grow this business? And I really enjoy that. So literally I pulled up and I finished with him, and that gets me into my day. So
sure.
for you, but yeah, no. So I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years. My God, is it? Yeah, I mean,
20 years.
Yeah.
And so I think we graduated high school in 1997, which is, that was what, is that 19 years ago?
No, is it? God, I don't even know.
Think I'm bad at math. It's 20 years ago, I think. So regardless of that, you've been doing this since you got out of high school.
Yeah.
But you didn't just go running into entrepreneurship.
No, I didn't. So I had 3 jobs that I can remember. So right out of high school, we did college. We did the Carroll Community thing, and that just was a fizzle. Then we both slowly transitioned to Towson, which is our big college, I guess, Towson State. It's a great college. We dabbled. I mean, my memories of that are, just barely barely making it to class, but mostly with our parties, our big party. And I remember you were bouncing a lot of the parties.
Well, we ran that one party like a business. We actually talked about, we spread it. We spread this one party that we had at the Colony. We spread the word.
Yes.
Right. And then we actually bought tickets.
Yeah.
And then we bought the kegs of beer.
Absolutely.
And then we charged for them to get in. And I think we actually either broke even on that party, because I was at the door collecting the money. We either broke even or we made money. And I was like, holy crap.
This is amazing.
This was a massive party that we put on, and we made money doing it.
We did.
Or broke even. Yeah, and you were
making sure nobody was sneaking in.
And it was such a cool thing. And I think that maybe that was the trigger that set it off for you. I don't know, but we know for a fact, and you've told me a million times, that you walked outside or you went and talked to your parents. Let's talk about that. You were at MPT, right?
It was the cubicle that did it for me. I just couldn't stand it. So yeah, right out of high school, we were dabbling in college. We both, dropped out, never made anywhere. So I had real jobs. So I worked for a really good job, was actually Maryland Public Television.
Right.
I got hired. I started in as a temp, and I worked for Wall Street Week with Louis Ruckheiser. Great job, building websites. I had benefits. It was really, really good money at the time. So I worked for Maryland Public Television, and I worked for our gas and electric company. It's called BGE. And I went in for their tech department, and I was the youngest kid. And when I say kid, I was probably 18 or 19. So I was working for their, it was called the Atlas Project, and we were putting in little tiny Wi-Fi receptors or whatever things are called in lamppost lights.
Right.
So we were working with the gas and electric company to install these Wi-Fi routers. So at the time, this was like cutting edge, and grown adults, people older than my dad were coming up saying, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing up here? How'd you get to the 5th floor?" And no one up there was at the 5th floor. So MPT, BGE, and then I worked at Staples because that's where my dad got me in at. So I had retail experience. Couldn't stand that.
Yep.
Hated the retail hours. And I worked at Target as a manager for the electronics department. Couldn't stand that. But BGE and MPT were a true to life cubicle job. I mean, a cubicle the size, I could barely, I'm tall, 6'3". I couldn't reach it with my arms.
Right.
And I always talk about how it was like jail. So that to me was the light bulb. I knew that I didn't want that. And that's where the speech you love that I gave about the experiences, that's where I really go deep into that. I knew that I could not spend the rest of my life in a cubicle. And I knew also that I could not spend the rest of my life in Staples or at Target or in retail. I saw my dad. He would go in at 9, come home 9, always talking about people trouble, management troubles, just shrink, trying to control the theft. And he would come home and mow the grass, and then he'd come in and he's exhausted. So, and I experienced that. So yeah, I mean, as a really young age, I plotted my own course, which is still holding true. And we'll talk about that later, but that's, Christ, you're talking about 30.
It was growing within you.
It was. And so I said, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to live. This is what I want to drive. This is what I want to eat in the morning. This is how I want to experience life. And what it comes down to is personal freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to have personal time freedom, you have to have financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because I think I started at such a young age, I think I was able to eliminate the what most people have trouble with, where, if you have a family and you have really big overhead and you have really big bills, it's kind of hard for you to make that decision. But I was so young, I made that decision when it was just myself and Mandy. Really, we had hardly any overhead. Our apartment was probably $800. But regardless of that, I sat down and I said, this is what I wanted, and I executed on that all, which a lot of people don't do.
You wrote down your goals and you executed on your goals.
I did. I made a path for myself, and I said, I cannot get what I want by working this job. I can't get the freedom that I want. I can't get the financial income that I want. So I got to do something else. And
right.
You alluded to it. I went to mom and dad. I said, Mom, listen, I said, I got to, I'm building these websites, getting $1,000, $2,000 at a pop, meeting these influential, affluent people, and I want to do this, but I can't do this properly. I can't devote all my time to doing this while working at BGE and MPT, and she says, no, you've got benefits. You're making, I think at the time it was $18 an hour,
right,
with really good benefits. And again, I was at the top floor, breakfast in the morning. We had a buffet. So it was really, really cool. She says, no, you can't. And again, she was a hard worker. She went to school, did her thing, and she was a retail worker. She worked at Leggett's and was it Belk at the time?
She had to hook up on the Guess jeans.
Yeah, that's right. And same with my dad. My dad, he went to
Staples.
school, worked at Staples. And so he said, if that's what you truly enjoy doing, then you do it. So they each had their own thing. And I took my dad's advice and I never looked back. So
Dad had the entrepreneurial spirit.
He did, yeah.
Mom had the opinion of what most parents will say. And that came from a place of love.
It did. Absolutely.
It always does.
Yes.
When your parents try to deflate what you truly are passionate about, what you want to do, they will deflate you. You just got to get past that.
It's the old Robert Kiyosaki, we go to school, your parents tell you, go to school, get that education to get you a job. But then that job, it's a jail. It really locks you in. And I always say you're trading your time for money. You're going to work for somebody who you're going to probably end up making rich or wealthy, but you're trading your time for money. And I never could get into that, even at a young age. So, but anyway, so I took the self-employment path, and I never looked back. So what did I do, right? So I was building websites for people, meeting these local business guys. I put ads in the yellow pages. I put ads in the newspaper. I will build websites for you and create a marketing campaign. And so
you started advertising yourself.
Started advertising.
You were starting to build your personal brand at what age now at this point?
18, 19.
19 years old, was building his personal brand. People still haven't even done that yet, but he was building his personal brand. He was advertising himself in the paper. And go ahead.
Yeah, I learned HTML. I learned how to code. What I did was I specialized in what was called LAMP, L-A-M-P. It was Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. And that made a complete website. And what these kids have nowadays with like WordPress with one-click install. I used to have to build the HTML.
Back in my day, you had to write HTML code.
Yeah, we had this. So I really learned how to code on this thing called GeoCities. And I was like a website, and my buddy Ron and I, we had these GeoCities sites, and we were coding in HTML, and we had all the snazzy alarms and the music playing upon load. And so anyways, I would teach businessmen how to do this. And then I would teach them how to use email and how to, send out email blasts and how to build a list and how to solicit people. So I started meeting and building sites for affluent and influential people. So after that, I started really having some good money come in, and I started creating a little snippet of software way beyond its time. And it was just live chat, right? So I built it for Ed, who had the Blender site. And I said, wouldn't it be cool, Ed, if, you and I could have the customer talk to us right from the website without having to call? It's just, you don't have to pick up the phone. And at the time, people were using modems, right? So you couldn't use the phone.
Right.
So it was this neat little snippet of code. And anyway, so I built a little snippet of code and a technology called live chat at the time, which enabled somebody to ask if a blender was for sale, if the K-Tech could blend eggs and whatnot. And I ended up selling that. A company called me up from LivePerson, and they said, listen, we want to buy that. We want to buy the software. We want to buy the technology. And so they bought me out at like the age of 21. And that was absolutely, I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
It was a good chunk of change and then when Uncle Sam, when I found out how much I had to pay Uncle Sam, I was like, wow, man, this isn't really, I should have sold for more.
Yeah. But you were addicted at that point.
It was the aha moment, as they talk about.
Because then you were like, oh, okay, this is what my plan is. My plan is to build these businesses, get them to work correctly, attract the attention of someone who might see value in the business, and then move on to the next one. Because what I find is that you are very passionate about, and this is where my favorite word now is, I call you an empower-neur.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
I don't call you an entrepreneur, because I think you've elevated yourself above being an entrepreneur. I think now you're an empower-neur, because you're taking people that want to be entrepreneurs and you're empowering them to become entrepreneurs.
I like
that. And that's the evolution of the entrepreneur, is now the empower-neur. And you did that for me. So some of the things where there were so many failed attempts for me, with the skate shop, I remember a search engine that I bought, this is almost probably 15 years ago, Search Axis.
Yes.
You literally were throwing things at me saying, dude, just do this, try this, do this, try. And I kept, backing out.
You just weren't ready,
I was not ready
mentally,
yet. And and so finally, Nick came to me and he said, look, here's the deal, man. And the next video that I'm uploading, it talks about that is I have an opportunity for you. It's something where you can utilize your talent within it. Can you do this? And the timing was right.
It's perfect.
It worked out. I mean, and it was just like the stars aligned, right? Yeah. And it finally was like, all right, now's our time, and we did it. And now, again, this is something that like I pat both of our backs on. We built $1 million agency in less than 5 years.
That's amazing.
And it's crazy, right? And so I wanted to kind of like end a couple things with,
sure.
What did you learn? What did you learn in that 20-year span? Just a couple quick tips for some people, and then drop a couple secrets on them, and then we'll talk about what our next thing is.
Yeah. So what I learned in those 20 years is it was always me, myself, and I in the beginning, and again I'm an introvert. I don't necessarily enjoy a massive team, but I came to realize that you got to have a massive team to get to that next level. You can only do so much by yourself. And in the early days, what I really discovered, and I give myself a pat on the back, was I learned how to delegate. I'm not a micromanager. I really let people do their thing. I kind of say, this is what I'm looking for. So back in the day it was Elance. I think now it's called Upwork. I remember, I was using the Indians and the Philippines. I would go into these places and hire really good talent. And I would have them do things for me that either I sucked at or just that I didn't want to do.
And you're still friends with some of those guys.
I'm still friends, and I still use them to this day. Outsourcing, the ability to delegate and pick the right people. It's massive. So the biggest thing is, if you really want to get to the next level, you've got to find people that do what you suck at, right? I suck at sales, and that's where you came in. Sure. You are a master at sales, persuasion, and marketing, so I'm the creative guy. I kind of create the vision. I love plotting the course, and I always use the term clear path to cash, clear path to freedom. Like, that's me. I see clearly where I need to go, and then I kind of build the components, and then I put the people in place to do it. So so I absolutely, if you want to do something on your own and you want to get out of the 9 to 5, you've got to learn how to find your true passion. What are you really good at? And then whatever you suck at, find somebody to do that. That's one of my secrets. I mean,
a friend, a partner,
anybody,
a wife, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So find that person that can do what you're not good at, but that you can trust,
absolutely,
right? And that that would be successful at, and would hopefully have the same passion.
They got to fit into your puzzle. They have to be a good puzzle piece. We talk about.
Give the people one good secret that they can use.
Oh gosh. So for me, time is of the utmost importance. My personal time, creating systems and frameworks so I mean, I guess the biggest secret that I would say is it takes deep thought to really understand and think about what you truly want. Like, some people say they might want the big house, or they might want the Ferrari, and then you got to create a path to that. But what people don't understand is the responsibility that comes with that, right? So, my biggest secret is, from a very early age, I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted the freedom of time. And again, I don't have the giant mansion. I don't have the $3 million stable of cars. I know the path that can get me there, but that path comes with a massive amount of responsibility. It comes with a ton more work that right now I just don't feel like doing, only because my son's 7. And, it just comes with this big bundle of responsibility. So what I would suggest is the biggest secret is really take some time, think about what you want. What is most important to you? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do when you wake up? When you wake up, what do you spend your morning doing? What do you spend your lunchtime doing? What do you spend doing at night? Like, really think about that. What type of people do you enjoy working with? If you don't enjoy working with people, can you create something? So really what I would suggest is spend a day, go to a spa, spend a day with yourself, right? If you can't get out for at least 4 hours, there's something wrong with you. Try to get yourself 4 hours of your time, sit down. I'll put the text file that has my list of what I would suggest.
Yes.
We'll add that. So maybe take a day and go over this list that I created and think about what it is that you want, what it is that you want to do, what it is you want to work with, and then we can help create a path for you. But again, the biggest secret would be to what do you really want to do, and how can we make that happen? If you really think about it, you can come up with a path. But Todd and I really specialize in that, in creating paths, and I guess that would
yeah. And I mean, that's kind of segues into what we're doing now. A lot of people keep asking, all right, Todd, I'm starting to see you everywhere now, and
what's
things of
going
that
on?
nature. Yeah, and
I'm
so
nervous.
I know, right? And so here's the deal: is that our agency is doing great. And Nick came to me about, I don't know, it was probably like 2 months ago, and he said, you need to start sharing your story you need to start building out your personal brand. And for a long time, I was apprehensive about doing that. But at the age of, almost 40 years old, I feel like it's time for me to do that. I have to almost, I can share that. And now what I'm seeing is by sharing it, I'm helping other people, which I have found. I thought sales was my passion. I thought social media was my passion. I thought reputation management was my passion. My real true passion now is helping other people succeed. And I think that you and I found that similarly, that we both are passionate about helping other people.
It's
and
like
that's where great.
down.
And so that is what Nick and I are working on now. Nick's brainchild, it came to him while he was on one of his private, excursions that he does, where he'll just leave for 3, 4, 5 days and come back with this booklet of ideas. And then he's like, all right, Todd, you need to dissect this and figure out, what are we going to do with this? And he came up with a great idea. And if you want to maybe give a little tidbit, I call it a Todd bit, of what we're doing and that what people can look forward to. I'm pretty excited about this.
So we came together and formed an amazing alliance. We are extremely different people on the inside and out, but the difference has made this the yin and the yang, the ebb and the flow of our day to day just aligned so perfectly. We each have skill sets and mindsets we're a really good match. So anyways, what we're working on is a blueprint of our agency. So our agency right now is sells social services. We post socially for businesses. Our agency writes review responses on behalf of restaurants, auto dealerships, lawyers. So we respond to reviews, and we teach business reputation management. And what Todd and I have found out is that the reputation of a small business, there's really almost nothing more important than that. A small business is the owner's baby. It's their lifeblood. They're so proud of it. So what hurts more than somebody talking bad about that business? It just hurts them, and it makes them hold out the credit card. They need somebody that they can trust and somebody that can provide services to help them maintain their reputation and do things that they don't necessarily want to do.
And that has social proof, right? That's done it for others.
So we have what we call a proven system. We're not selling ghostware. We are selling the blueprint to how we went from 0 to $500,000, then from $500,000 to multi-million. And it's a tried and true proven system that anybody can use to start an agency in their local area, because our business is local.
Right.
You can close somebody in Florida on our agency. You can say, we will protect your reputation. We see that your last post on Facebook and Twitter was 2014 and it's now 2018, and you're not responding to your reviews. People want to hear from you. So you can close somebody in Florida, in Hawaii, in Arizona.
And we do, right? We have clients all over the country. I mean, actually even outside the country at this point. So it's going to be amazing when we launch this.
It is. We're working really, really hard. So we're making video courses, and it's the coolest. I have probably spent over $50,000 in purchasing courses over probably more than that, actually, over the past 20 years. I've gone to every seminar, you name it. I've bought every video course, every module, every do-it-yourself, every business in a box. But the thing that Todd and I are doing is we're really making a thorough, a proven system that really has documents. You download our legal documents. You download our forms that you close the client. And then Todd and I are actually mock role playing. So literally the video module that we did yesterday, I was a pizza man,
right,
and Todd was the agency, the student, and we went through the motions on how you would close the local pizza man. And it's just the coolest video, and I'm enjoying it so much making it. It's a massive undertaking. We spent over $3,000 creating this in-house video studio, and every day, Todd and I, we get dressed up and we make these video courses. It's a 4-part video course. It starts at the top, the overview, and then we talk about preparing yourself, and that's really me getting you into the mindset, sitting down, creating your path. Then it's sales and marketing. Then it's closing the deal. Then it's fulfillment and management.
Right. And so you're going to end up getting all that. Plus, we're going to give you access to the software, so you'll have actual software doing the work for you. So be ready. Keep your eyes peeled. When this launches, it's going to be gigantic. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a disruptor. That is what it's all about. I'm not going to say what it's going to be disrupting technically, but it's going to disrupt the market from a standpoint of that you can work, and our dream is that you can work from anywhere at any time, and you can start enjoying your life at the same time running a profitable business for yourself.
Just like we did.
Like we did.
And the words or the phrase that I can't drive home enough are, it is a proven system. It is a proven
you call it a system. I call it a formula.
Yes.
And in my opinion, formulas are just our formulas are facts, right? So like a plan or a strategy that can be messed with. A formula is something that is exact.
Yes.
It's been proven to work.
Yes.
It works every single time without fail, no exceptions, as long as you do this, as long as you add this, add that, add this, add that. And we've done all the work over the 4 or 5 years that we've done it. We've gone through the I call it the EKG of the ups and the downs. So we can get you there faster than if you were to just try to do it by yourself. And so to me, that is really the true value.
As with anything, you can do anything yourself, anything you put your mind to, but literally this is a business in a box. And when you get it, it just has every document you would need. And when you watch the videos and you watch our mock role playing, as we like to say, I mean, you're ready to roll. And it's a local business. And almost everybody knows a pizza man or an auto dealer or a lawyer or a
retail shop,
a tattoo
a gym,
artist.
a tattoo artist, a dentist, a real estate agent, anybody that's B2C. And it's funny because right now I have the formula set up inside one of our clients for employees to work with or review the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just so many different avenues, and we keep evolving it. We add new things all the time. So as we come to a close here, leave us with something great.
Well, I mean,
not to put you on the spot.
Oh yeah, no, that's okay. So for the reputation, agency that we're building, it's just going to be so neat because whether you're a stay-at-home mom, you're right out of college, it's for you, or if you want to build a giant agency like this.
Right.
So for me, yeah, the aha was the agency is really cool, and I absolutely love it. But again, the aha was seeing those texts from you and the other people that I've been able to bring out of the jail cells of the 9 to 5. Seeing those texts, you saved my family. From one of my friends, you saved my family when I was in this XYZ job. I was working Saturdays and Sundays, and now I have my life back. You, Nick, I can't even believe that I'm spending this Saturday with Logan on baseball. This is the most amazing. That's for me is the aha. Oh man,
you want to share the aha moment with everybody else.
I want to share the aha.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you want a gym? Man, gosh. The Pomodoro timer has been life altering for me. That is a huge secret that I use to keep me in track. The Pomodoro timer is something I use on my computer from the minute I start working. I would say that's probably one of my biggest claims to fame is the Pomodoro timer, and it's just
oddly enough, Nick has never even told me that. So that must truly be a gem.
It is. The Pomodoro timer keeps me on track and keeps me. That's probably the only one that comes to mind right now. But once you get the power of owning your own time, you will never look back. And again, you can do it yourself.
Say that one more time.
The power of owning your own time. It is so powerful just because for the past
you'll never get it back.
18 years, you'll never get it back. I mean, that's the only resource that really, once it's gone, and money, you can get just like Donald Trump went bankrupt. It replenishes itself.
Hey, I went bankrupt.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely. You literally, and it comes back. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. I mean, everybody knows that, and anybody can create their own freedom. But, if there's a system out there or somebody, it's modeling the masters is what I call it. Success drops clues. And it's no secret. You can always see what somebody else is doing and model that. So, that's what I did when I was younger. I found mentors. I found gurus. I said, hey, this guy's doing this. And so, yeah, so model the masters. But once you get your freedom of time, it just is, again, I haven't had a boss in 20 years. I just cannot imagine the feeling of having somebody saying, you've got to be here this time and you've got to execute this. And, and you're going to get fired if you don't. So I understand the value of time freedom. And when I can give that gift to somebody else, it is the ultimate gift that I can give. And there's nothing more that I truly
Well, Nick,
enjoy.
I can tell you this, that the best gift, that I've ever given, whether or not, or you've ever given me, whether it has nothing to do with business, has nothing to do with anything, is the friendship that you've given me. And again, I it's not a friendship. It's you're my brother. You're my brother. There's no question about it. Your family, whether the last names are the same or not, family's family. You've been there for me from, the worst times to the best times, back to the worst times, all the way back up to great times, back to the worst times. And I know I am probably not the easiest guy to be best friends with, but to have someone like you in my life, I'm truly blessed to have that, and I'm truly blessed to be able to share that with everybody else. Guys, I hope you got something great out of this. I hope that you can take some of this, go back and listen to it again. Trust me, there's
we talk fast.
Yeah,
slow
we
it
do
down.
talk fast, but there's especially towards the end there a lot of stuff that Nick said. Success leaves clues and things like that. Man, write that stuff down. It really truly is. Even if he doesn't think that they're gems, they are. Nick, where can people follow you?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I mean, I'm
I know
very
you're kind of private,
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, so you taught me the ABC. What is it? Always be closing.
Always
So
be
the only thing I would say is, if you're listening to this, you're probably following Todd. I have my own personal website. It's called nicholascollins.com, but it hasn't been updated in a million years. It talks a little bit about me, what I've been doing. I probably updated it about 4 years ago. But what I would take away from Todd's ABC is we'll close this out with, if you want to get out of the 9 to 5, if you don't like where you're at, or let's say you're maybe out of college or you're a stay-at-home mom, Todd and we have what I call is the clear path. We know what needs to be done to get you out of that job, whether it's an agency or whether it's something else. I mean, let's say you're passionate about building something or building a gadget or bringing this service, or even if you have, like my buddy Nick, who has a home cleaning business, we can show you the path to take that to the next level, or just to get you out of that into something that you enjoy. So I would say reach out to Todd or myself and, pick our brains. We consult for free. Pick our brains for a half hour.
Well, he consults for free. I don't consult for free. I don't consult for free anymore.
Well, there you go.
You got to pay me. You got to show me the
Pay
money.
to play.
Show me the money.
Pay to play. But we can help you find that. So I would say reach out to us if you want to go to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can just, like I said, like Nick said, you can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Nick, because then he'll help you for free, because you might have to pay me. No, I'm just joking. I will help for free. But again, thank you so much for doing this. It means so much to me that you came on here and that you're supporting me, the brand within the brand,
always
to be able to do this, because it's exciting for me, and I love when people hear it. This is not the last time, of course, you're going to be on here. So I greatly appreciate it. Let's do a high five.
High fives.
So you guys heard that. That was a high five.
45 minutes. You did good.
That was a long one. So
yeah.
But yeah, so we have more to touch on. But Nick, thanks a lot. I
Absolutely,
appreciate
buddy.
it.
Later.
See ya.